Hi.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm good in yourself on this rainy day.
Yes, it's rainy in Cape Town. And yeah, I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you so much for your time. And for supporting this thing where, I want to just chat to local female business owners and entrepreneurs. And the reason I wanted to chat to you specifically is because, you played quite a big role in inspiring me to start my own business.
Yeah.
And, so I think it's very important for people to see and to listen to other people's stories because it helps so much for me. So yeah,
Mm.
I think maybe if you just want to start by giving us a very quick overview of who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me today. It's such a special thing to be interviewed by you, especially as I've walked with you on this journey. And thank you for your kind words. Well, I'm Carey, and I am the owner of Salt, a business mentor and a designer. I work with heart-led, curious female entrepreneurs, and I basically help entrepreneurs get their voice out there, help them make the impact that they are called to make. Yeah, and I just help them to get confident because a lot of the times where they don't have proper branding or really understand the foundations of their branding, I know they really battle to put themselves out there and to market themselves because it is a bit of an insecurity. Um,
Yeah.
and with the brand strategy, you delve so much more into what the actual business is about. And I think that really gives
Mm.
them confidence and really helps them to understand the impact. And once you understand your impact, you know exactly how you can serve your clients. So yeah, that's just me in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
Interesting that you mentioned that insecurity, that word for me, is something that I don't know if this is just me, but I feel like the imposter syndrome, especially with women, is crazy. And I constantly have to check myself and be like, I actually read this thing about, imposter syndrome. It's more fear of change or like stepping it up. It's not really, you just need to realize that it's that and then you deal with it. So I think
Yeah.
working with someone like you, from the beginning of my brand, we chatted about kind of who do I see as my ideal clients, kind of just mapping out the journey, which has helped me a lot because it's just very difficult to plan out what you want to do with your business unless you chat to someone or you put it down on paper. So it's really helped me.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
yeah, so I think
absolutely.
basically I want to touch on that heart-led female creatives that you speak about. I just for people listening, what does it mean, heart-led?
Sure. Well, to me, heart date first of all begins with you. Always. Heart date is all about knowing yourself as a leader and leading yourself as a leader. If you have a business, whether you have employees or not, guess what? You're a leader. In fact, even if you're not a business owner and you're just working for somebody else, whatever the situation is, you are a leader of your own life. So it all begins with you really taking ownership of your own life and being a leader of your life. And that's the first thing. The second thing, when you do that, you actually figure out and understand what your impact is and what you're called to do on this earth, and taking that on as a responsibility, and keeping true to that, which I believe stems from your heart, it stems from your soul. And once you know that, that kind of just continues to help you and guide you as your compass as you develop your business and step into the world, doing what you're meant to do. So I also think heart led also speaks to putting a lot of love into what you're doing. So you because you know your impact, you essentially love what you do, and you also put a lot of love into what you do, and it also shows in how you work with clients. Or the love that you put into your products. You want to create the best products for your clients, or create the best services. So yeah, it's I think, but Heartled really does begin with you.
I love that. I love how you describe that as well. I think it's tapping into, the core reason of who you are and why you do what you do. And I
Mm,
think, I think, this book that I've read, The Artist's Way, they talk a lot about being kind of a blocked creative. And a lot of times you find people, not only females, but people will feel that they're just unhappy or something doesn't feel right. And oftentimes maybe it's because they're not really connected
yeah.
to that heartfelt purpose and really living
Mm,
their, for lack of a better word, their truth or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I love that. So
yes.
then maybe,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, what I
maybe
was going to
I,
say is I think sometimes, when I'm pulled into a career because, you know, that's just what we learned how to do, or that's what we were told to do, or whatever we were inspired to do at that time. But as you grow older or evolve as a person, maybe that's just not who you are anymore, or maybe that's just not that's not what is your deep desire. Or maybe you discover along your journey, you know, you can impact and serve people in other way, and that is your heart's desire, really. So I think sometimes we just become so numb just to kind of do what's expected of us and what roles are expected of us without questioning, okay, is this really what I want to do? Is this really how I can impact and serve the, you know, the best to my abilities, the skills that I've been given. So yeah.
So then it's something that you should reevaluate and look at. You think, you know, every now and again, it's not that today your purpose is this. It's you kind of have to reflect back and see, okay, how far have I come? And
Absolutely.
that's interesting. Yeah. So do you have any tips about like how people can kind of keep doing that? Do you think, you know, something, for example, something really... I do is just like that morning pages that you know about. Like every morning I spend a couple of minutes just putting down my thoughts on paper for, you know, filling 3 pages, and then I can track kind of how I'm feeling or where I'm going. So any other things like that for business, you know, is it something you should write down? Should you?
Yeah.
So you think I think
it's a daily practice. Once again, it's about leading yourself, and I think when you lead yourself, you're self-aware, and if you are a self-aware person, you actually then know you can already tell, you can have this deep sense within you, you know, when something is not working and when something is working, you know, if you're being pulled in a different direction. And it's just being honest with yourself, and that's maybe something that you really need to really evaluate every day, you know, whether it's journaling, whether it's a meditation where you get some clarity, or just, you know, sometimes when you just find peace in meditation, you often find clarity follows that. Maybe it's doing something that you love doing, like as a hobby, connecting in nature. Sometimes having conversations with other people can spark something, but really it's just about being self-aware and listening to your inner voice and following that inner voice that you're hearing, and not just numbing it out because you have certain expectations put on you already. No, you can change your career, you can change whatever you want to do at any point in your life. I mean, there's some people who've changed their career and they continue to change their career like 3 times, 4 times in their life. You know, you're never too old to change what you're doing, or learn a new skill, or learn something new. So I think it's just being true to yourself.
Love it. That is so true. I think definitely it's something, you know, we always think we know ourselves, but it's a constant journey. Just like you have a friend or someone else, you know, you kind of have to keep fostering that relationship with yourself and getting to know yourself. And as part of this Artist Way book as well, they say that you have to take yourself on a date every week where you spark your creativity. And I think just spending time with yourself, and I think that it's, that's amazing. So then I think, you know, I think maybe just talking about branding and why that appeals to you. I mean, you've said so many things already, but I think, you know, why is that your purpose, you know, to work with brands and to help them get their branding sorted? And, you know, is it about giving them the confidence, you know, the way that you did? I mean, I also just have to say that you've done our branding, and so I know, but, you know, maybe if you just want to tell other people, why is that your kind of purpose? Why did you go into that direction?
So to be honest, it's something that I just naturally love to do. I love hearing about people's businesses and their ideas and their goals. So that's also where my mentoring came in, where I started adding mentoring into my branding and my design studio as well, because I found I was also mentoring my clients. And after doing the branding process with me, they're like, can you continue being my accountability mentoring partner? Like, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. I mean, I've helped so many people start their businesses and help them on their journeys, like, and after hearing from other mentors and stuff, you know, I was just like, okay, cool, and this is something I love doing, I'm going to do it. But anyway, sorry, I veered off from and I went into the mentoring. So that's,
I love that you mentioned that. It's a big part of what you do.
Absolutely, it just naturally evolves. So that was my next kind of as I evolved as a person and in my business. I mean, I have been running my business for 7 years, almost 8 years. I've been working for myself.
Amazing.
So as I've evolved, obviously, that felt like the next step. But I absolutely love branding, because I feel like once you have your strategy right, and so I'm a big believer of not just designing brand identity based on like how you want it to just look and feel, I believe that there needs to be brand strategy behind it. So I never just design a logo. I always do the brand strategy. And brand strategy really is just getting to the basics of knowing your foundations and then developing the brand from there. And the foundations is obviously knowing who you are, what are your business values, how are you incorporating your values into your business values, the clients that you serve, and like truly understanding the clients you serve, not those typical avatars. Like I serve Carol, who is 30 years old and has 2 dogs and is a busy
Yeah.
mom boss. Whatever. It's not like that. It's
Delving
actually really
deeper.
going
Yeah.
a whole lot deeper. And then obviously then you start to also develop the brand personality. And I love that because that's just like when you can be really fun and abstract and you start picturing your brand as a
Same with
person.
copy. I think I can
Yes,
very much
exactly.
relate to that because
Exactly.
copywriting, it's exactly like that. Whereas I think that's why design and copywriting, they really have to work together. But I
Yes.
think, understanding exactly who you're speaking to, I think a lot of people, it can be such a hit and a miss. And with visual communication as well, it's so important. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes. So that's why I
I can
love
relate.
like having the strategy laid out properly, and then from there designing the visual side of everything, and just making sure that all the visual aesthetic side of it actually communicates all the strategy that and the
Mm.
heart and the soul that's behind the business is so important. So and I believe that's when good branding comes together. So yeah, and I just love it, and I also just I don't
Mm.
know. I've just always been that person who takes notes of good branding. I think I'm an aesthetic driven person, also having an
Mm.
interior design qualification. I'm a very aesthetic driven person. So I
Yeah.
love branding. I love really like getting creative and designing based on how to communicate that brand's personality and their values through their branding. So yeah,
I love
love
that. And I
it.
have to mention as well that how I met you is that you were my wedding planner. So you've always had a
Yes.
very good eye. You've got a good
Yes.
eye for,
Yes.
all kinds of aesthetics. And I think it's also, even with that kind of thing, like you mentioned, interior design and event planning, even though you don't do event planning anymore, it's still, you have to kind of be strategic and you want to also share, you make people feel a certain way when they walk into a room or when they look at
Absolutely.
branding. And it's the same with copywriting, it's not about just saying what you do, or it's about making people feel connected to your brand. So I
Yes,
absolutely love
yes,
that.
absolutely, absolutely. A branding has to be emotive, and the strategy even focuses a lot on the emotive side of things of how
Yeah,
to connect with your clients.
awesome. So I touched on this already, but you mentioned, so you started 7 years ago with your business. So, I mean, I think you worked in marketing, or you worked for an agency, and then how did you decide did you just one day decide I'm out of this rat race? I'm going to do my own thing, or
Yeah.
because I don't actually know this about you. How did you start? Did you
Oh
lose
wow.
me?
Okay, cool. Yeah, no,
Okay.
you're back. Um, no, so how it all started is I was in the corporate world. I had been in it for quite a while, and my last position in the corporate world was I was a brand manager slash creative director, and I was just really deeply unhappy. And on the side, I had already started like just for fun, like helping people start their business, helping them brand, doing the design stuff for fun on the side. Like it literally was just a fun thing on the side because I loved doing it. Like I get so excited when people spoke about business ideas. And I think like since I was a little kid, I just always wanted to have my own business. You know, when you play like what you're going to be when you grow up with your friends or whatever. And I was always the like business mom. So I'd be a mom
Hey.
and a business woman, like running my business, holding the baby at the play baby at the
Well,
same time. And
that's
I've always liked
unusual.
that
I
since I was a
mean,
kid.
that's unusual, I think, because I didn't
Yeah,
have any entrepreneur role
yeah,
models. I had no idea, like it wasn't even a
yeah.
thing for me. It was kind of you fit into this box of which career you're going to
Yes,
choose. So I love that.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
sorry,
Neither did
continue.
I. So I don't
Yeah.
know where that came from, but I just remember. And also my cousin reminded me the other day, and my mom reminded me. She's like, "Yo, you were always when you played those games as a kid, you were always I was either a fashion designer, an owner of a restaurant, an architect, something like that. And then I
Wow.
would have my little baby with me. I'd also be like this boss at the same time, like running my own business. It was very weird. I don't know where, because there's no other entrepreneurs, at least directly in my family. So I don't know where I got it from. But anyway, since I was a kid, it was obviously ingrained in me. And then I don't know, as I grew older, just normal, you kind of like maybe lose in touch with that side of yourself when you were a kid.
Mm.
And then I just got into the corporate world, and then you kind of get stuck working for someone else. But I was so unhappy by the time I had reached that stage of like the job that I was in. I was just really, really unhappy. And one day I couldn't take it anymore, and I literally quit. Now I wouldn't suggest anybody
Yeah,
to
no,
just do that. Don't do what I did. But
yeah.
I was so tired of coming home and crying every single day and just
Mm.
being so miserable. And so I just quit. And funny enough, when I quit, I took the company I was working for, I took them on as a client. They were my first clients that and which was nice because it was still under my own
Mm.
terms. And then I still
Mm.
had a few little clients on the side, and I just took the risk and I did it. And here we are now.
I love it. You know my story and how I, because of the pandemic, had to start my own business. And I always say, people who do it out of their own choice, I honestly admire them so much. And yeah, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of a applause. Well done. But yeah, I think it's always, I've spoken to so many people where they just have this feeling of being unhappy and they can't really pinpoint it. They like the salary's good, even if you have good, um, kind of a good work culture and everything, sometimes it's just like something telling you that you need more. And it's okay to follow that. And I
Yes.
mean, I'm going to follow up on that you mentioned of you playing with like the doll and saying you're a mom working, because that's you right now. You've got a 9-month-old baby,
Yeah.
and it must have been quite a shock. I mean, I'm not there yet, and I always think, I'll let you do everything first, and I'll just watch, and get old and learn from you.
Learn.
So how has that been juggling that, the two things, your business baby and
Yeah,
your actual baby?
it's it's been wild. I can tell you that. It's definitely been a big learning curve, and I must say that my daughter coming into my life has been one of the biggest lessons. And she is my teacher every day. I feel like she's always teaching me
Oh,
new lessons. Sorry. Um,
let's go for it.
sorry.
I'm making you
Yeah.
talk so
So
much.
it's no, it's okay. So it's
Yeah.
been been a bit of a juggle. Initially, before, I'll be honest, before I had her, I was a bit of a workaholic. I realized I was working very long days. I was working like 12-hour days. And after having her, I thought to myself, what am I doing? Like, I started my business
Mm,
to have time freedom and not to be burnt out like this. But at some point, in your business, you also go through seasons. And I realized I was
mm,
hustling a lot because I knew I had a little one coming, and I didn't know what
yeah.
life would look like then. So that's fine. That was for that season. And I think as I had her, I started like learning just to adapt first of all, but also I had to also realize that I can't work the way I used to work back in that previous year. Even when I was pregnant, I was working 12 hours a day. It's
Mm,
crazy. I can't do that anymore. And I had to really start evaluating my values and going back to my values. And that's when I actually started shaping my business and the surfaces around the life that I actually want to live. And so that's where I started realizing actually business should be life aligned. And that's also one of the main focuses I focus on with mentoring my clients is creating a life aligned business. So my daughter sparked this whole new journey for me of creating
love
a
that.
life aligned business. And and just yeah, and it's been such a wild, beautiful, but also terrifying journey at times. And I realized in the beginning, I was so trying to keep up with the hours that I used to work and the way I used to work, and I realized that no, this is a whole new normal that I need to kind of like
That's
work
your
with
different
now.
version.
And
Yeah. Version of
yes, different
yourself. So
version.
like we said in the beginning, you've
Yes,
transitioned into a different
yes,
version of yourself.
yes, yes. So not only has my life changed now with having my little girl, but I've also changed as a person and
Mm,
grew in so many ways and really had to, so many other things came up in, like reevaluating my values and that kind of stuff. And so yeah, it was really has been a journey, and I must say initially it was hard. There was a lot of tears, a lot of like, oh my gosh, will I never be able to work again a lot? And I was very stressed.
yeah.
Um, just to put some clarity, hubby and I, we don't have a nanny, we don't send her to school. We like to keep her at home with
Mm,
us. My hubby is amazing. He does look after her, so I can do some work in the morning, and then I have afternoons with her because he works in the afternoons because he works for an American company. and
I
he works
love
from
that.
home. So we're very
Good
fortunate.
to have a
Yeah,
husband
so we're
too.
very fortunate,
Yeah.
and we're able to have, yes, and we're very fortunate to have this flexible lifestyle where we can spend time together, be present with her, and I can still do work that I love doing. And I
Mm.
think I'm finally at the place now. Sorry.
No worries.
I'm finally at the place now where where I can say that I have like found a good balance. I know what I can take on capacity wise. I have designed my services and what I offer to people based on my capacity, based on what I really want to do. So I was offering some services that I didn't even want to do anymore, that I found no joy in doing. And I was like, why am I doing this? Or why am I structuring even the services that I love doing in this way when it's not working for me? I've implemented new
Interesting. Yeah.
systems that have helped the processes. And I also had to look that my time was less, so that means my pricing also had to change because I couldn't continue charging what I was charging, but working less hours. So it changed a lot. So it really was this whole process. But I think I can say I'm finally there. 9
But
months
it's like a
later,
seesaw, isn't
I
it?
find
It's like a
I'm at a good
seesaw. I
spot now
always feel.
where I've done all that, all that work.
Yeah. But to me personally, it always feels like a seesaw. You have to kind of, I read something yesterday where they said, like running a business has no kind of, or starting a business has no finish line. And it's like that because you're constantly on the seesaw trying to find balance between work, life. And I mean, I don't even have children yet. I can't even imagine with you. And I think that's also reevaluating, like you're looking at yourself and, getting to know yourself. It's also reevaluating your business structure and all of that. So I absolutely love that. Shem, I'll give you a second to catch up.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still recovering, as you can tell.
No, it's fine. I know. Thank you for still meeting with me, even though you've been a little bit unwell. I think I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
sorry.
Yeah, so I think I just have one more two more questions for you. Basically,
Cool.
for people who want to start with their branding, it can seem such as say, I have nothing yet. I don't even have a concept of, I kind of know, say I want to sell this thing or I want to offer this service, but where do they start with the branding process other than, contact you? But once they've contacted you, what is the first step?
Sure. Sure. Well, I would say the foundations, as I spoke about earlier. I would say you really need to understand your foundation. So that's understanding your values, how that aligns with your business, and then understanding what your business, what you truly are offering, whether it's a product or service. You really need to understand what you are offering. And I'm not saying as in like, okay, I'm gonna start. I'm just using as an example. I'm gonna um be a copywriter. Okay, cool. But what is the emotive side of what you're doing, and how are you going to communicate that to your clients? So it's first understanding your foundations of what your business truly is, who you're truly serving, how you're truly making an impact, where you want your business to go, and being honest with yourself. Maybe you want your business to stay a small business, and that's fine because you can still make an impact in your surrounding areas that you reach. So you don't even have to, I think it's just being honest with your vision and honest with the life that you really want to lead, and shaping your business and your from that. And then from there, your branding will be shaped from your foundation. So it's the foundations of your business, who your ideal client is, like who you're serving, and then obviously developing your brand personality from there. So I believe you always start there at the beginning, and then we actually do the fun stuff where we design the aesthetic that communicates the heart behind your business, because that's really what it is.
It is the fun stuff, when you have the tangible logo to upload and be like, hey, this is us, and you can launch. But you have to do the hard work of delving deep and understanding exactly where you're going first.
Yes,
I love that.
absolutely.
Okay. So the
And
last one is just a
sometimes my
very,
clients
Mhm.
I was gonna
No,
say
sometimes
sometimes I take my clients reach out to me and they think so it's gonna be a few questions like, oh, this is stuff I could do myself, and then when they do the process with me, they're like, oh, we didn't even think of that, or they have these aha moments and they're just like, wow, we didn't even think of that. So yeah, it's a whole lot more. I mean, I've really simplified it, but I mean, my workshop is like 2 hours because we really spend so much time in each section, delving in so deep. I never just let them answer a surface question. I always like to go deeper and deeper, like, okay, but why? What is really the why behind there? Like, what is the deep reason inside? Are you just answering because this is what you think you should answer, but what is actually the real reason behind it all? So yeah.
I love
You got to
that.
get that
Yeah.
right before you can get the branding side, the actual design side, to connect with
You
it.
can't just go blindly about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, I'm going to do a quick this or that, and then I want to end with you just
Sure.
giving a quick piece of advice for any female entrepreneurs or, want to be female entrepreneurs or future female entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so just don't even really think about it, just go answer. Okay, I think I know some of these. Coffee or tea?
Probably do. Tea.
Sleep,
Definitely tea.
sleep in or rise early?
Rise early.
Oh, because you're a mom now, you've changed.
Yeah, I would have been maybe a sleep in, but I definitely have started to really love the rise early vibe.
5 a.m. club. Okay, series or
Yeah.
books?
Books.
Love it. Camping or five-star luxury?
Camping.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Mm. Summer or winter?
Summer, definitely.
Especially now.
Yes.
Install updates now or later? When you get that alert on your laptop, install updates. Do you say now or later?
Oh, I'm terrible with updates. I always say later, but later never comes.
Later never comes. I'm the same. Okay, snooze or one alarm only?
Whew. Well, I don't really set alarms anymore because my alarm is my baby.
Oh, your
But
baby.
I can tell you, I used to snooze a lot. But yeah, not anymore.
It's not even about snoozing. I have like alarms in 5-minute increments. It drives my crazy, but it's
Yes,
just so that because my favorite part of the day is actually knowing, like waking
waking
up,
up
but knowing
slowly.
you can stay in the warm bed for a little longer. So
Yes,
it's a bad habit. I'm learning.
yes,
No, I still love it. I'll still do it.
yes. And I love waking up slowly, so I get that.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So then just one final quick thing. Any advice, if you could give any advice, for it can be any entrepreneurs, not only female, but maybe specifically given it's Women's Month, if you have something specific to share. Yeah.
Oh. Sure. Well, I could give lots of little tips, but I'll keep it simple.
Yeah.
The first thing is really understanding what you want to do with your life. Like really understanding like the impact that you want to make and the life you want to lead, because that will determine the choices that you make, with the type of business that you're going to run and how you're going to run it. So I think that's the main thing. And just staying true to yourself with that, because I think it's so easy to get caught up and see, okay, but so and so is doing their business like that, and I should be doing this, and I should be doing that. Like, no, what you need to be doing is staying true to yourself. And I know that's very hard, especially when you're starting off. The second thing I would say, so I'm going to give three things. The second thing I would say is take care of yourself. Like you are your business, especially when you're starting off. So you need to take care of yourself, and not just physically by getting lots of rest and eating well, but also mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Take care of yourself in all those different elements, because that's how your business will succeed, is by you also taking care by you taking care of yourself. And then thirdly is find support and good mentors. So even if you have some mentors that you are look up to from far, we all have those like business mentors, but then also having a few local ones that you can connect with and having the support. So whether it's friends that have businesses or other business owners, maybe you join a network group, whatever it looks like for you. But just find, even if it's one or two people that just can walk along with you on this journey, it's so important, especially if your partner or majority of your friends and family don't have their own businesses. It's very hard for them to understand our struggles, because our struggles are unique and they go up and down all the time. And so it's very important to have those supports. And mentors are just so great, because you can learn so much from mentors, even if it's mentors that you only follow online. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be business mentors. It can even be mentors in other areas of your life. Like maybe wellness mentors or spiritual mentors, whatever it is. To have those different mentors really makes you just look and approach your business with a more holistic point of view. So yeah, that would be my main advice. There's so much more I would give, but
I know, but
I
think those, you touch on really important things there that I can super relate to. I was like, yeah, I can definitely relate to all of those point you made. And yeah, I mean, thank you for being one of those people for me. Being able to chat about running a business I mean, in October, it will be our 2-year birthday. Then it will be 2 years of Tania de Kock Communications. So yeah, I think the past 2 years have been, like you said, a roller coaster, seesaw. And you've helped me a lot. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat to me. And
Oh,
yeah,
it's a pleasure. Thank you.
really appreciate it. And stay warm on this icy Cape Town day.
It's a pleasure.
Okay,
You
thank
too.
you so much,
You
Carey.
too. Go have a warm cup of
Coffee. I've had tea now. I'm back on coffee. And you a cup of tea. Thank you so much, Carey. Have a good day.
Bye.